it from my part. Mr. Baláž, the floor is yours, and I just say that from the idea to smart active cloud, monitoring of microclimate for sustainable environment. I was reading something about drones. No? No drones? Okay, sorry. So there was a wrong information because I imagined these glasses that you sit at home and fly a drone. So it's not that. No, we have a different topic today. Okay, so thank you very much. Good afternoon. I would like to ask for my presentation. I would like to thank the two ladies before me who spoke about the essence of my presentation. I don't want to thank for the attention. I would like to start, sorry. So we have heard a few expressions here that are very interesting for me from the point of view that we need high quality data, more measuring stations, and we need to get this data to us. So we would like, or I would like to speak about how to correctly monitor, and that's one big topic. So I'm from our DAS company. We are a technological company dealing with research and development. And in this region, I can say it's not a very frequent phenomenon, especially from the point of view that we have the expertise in microelectronics, in IoT and applied informatics. We started with electronics, and step by step, progressively, we penetrated into these areas. We started to work on them. We have more than 10 years of experience, and also our partners speak for that, whether companies or institutions within EU. Right now we have 40 employees, and almost half of that staff is working in research and development. So as I mentioned, we started with microelectronics. We did the design of integrated circuits. We were preparing the production and testing and so on, and progressively or step by step we started to penetrate other areas, and each of these fields there appeared one big topic, and that was monitoring, whether the monitoring of transportation for pharmaceutical industry or for foodstuff industries, of storages, of various kinds of premises. So we started to perceive it from the global point of view, what we can do with the monitoring further. So how to monitor correctly? Well, there are so many solutions. It's not a problem to find a solution. The question is whether this solution helps you in the problem that you need to address. So I would summarize it into 3 points. We need automated monitoring, very precise and real time. Why? We will speak about it later. So when we were starting with monitoring, we took a more complex view of it because we wanted a monitoring system that would ensure the integrity of data from their very beginning, from their origin, so from the point when they are measured through the entire transmission system up to client, so that these data are not untrue or modified, whether deliberately or not. But we wanted our client, or customer, or user to be able to say what they want to do with this data. It's up to them, not up to us. So we divided this idea into 4 basic points. So we have measuring devices, we have wireless communication, we have server, which we call Universal Monitoring Platform, UMP, and we also have the user interface, which can be an application, for example. So let's go through it. We are a company which started with microelectronics, so obviously we do our own hardware, we have our own design, even the production it's in-house. We have innovation that are backed by our own scientific publications. We use the best sensors possible on the market, and that is closely related to calibration. At some sensors, we can guarantee the lifelong calibration. So until the end of the life cycle of the sensor, we can guarantee that the data is precise. So these measuring devices are basically adapted to efficient communication and optimization of consumption from the implementation from the beginning. And I would like to point out one thing, and that we try to not to sell the devices, but we provide them as a service. So we kind of borrow them to our client, and if something happens to this measuring device, or when life cycles occur, we change it for the new one. So it's within the service, and we recycle the used devices, and we call it reuse. So we have a look at those, we inspect them, and if they can be used again, we implement them again. So, and the last point, as we are producers, we can adapt to individual requirements of our clients. So we have a lot of them for whom we basically adjust the devices so that they correspond to their requirements. The second thing I mentioned was the wireless communication. I think this is quite obvious. We just want to have a simple installation. So we want the client to be able to do it by themselves. That's why we decided to take this direction. We use various kinds of communication, from Bluetooth low energy when we can cover small operations, up to own communication at sub-megahertz communication, which enables to cover big premises, up to cellular network where the coverage is everywhere or anywhere. We use innovative security architecture, and we also have progressed administration of devices, and we can also provide distant update of the devices. And something about the device, I know you are not IT people, so I'm not going to get into very much detail, but I would like to point out a few things. It's a crucial part of our system, which can be used at various projects. I will come to that later. The most important features are that we have the server part scalable horizontally, which means we can add sources without limitation of service quality. An example is that this year, we started with 3 servers, and now we have already 7, and it's growing further depending on how much performance we need. We also this service is always available. System is very specific, and it's made for storage of data. If we want to measure some data, we need to have the processing of this data adopted, and also the storage place. So today you can do all kinds of storage places. You collect the data, and after some time you discover that you cannot use them because the architecture is not convenient for that. So today, when you have data 10 years old, you can basically take them regardless of what they are. You can use them further at any form. So as I mentioned, the universal platform means that we can put there more products. We started with this product. It's called Log Hub, which is still running. We started with monitoring of pharmacists and pharmaceutical industry. Then we added further industries, for example, the repair shop of aircraft. We have meat factories, various companies that need monitoring, and they need to have a reliable system. And our new product is Smart City, and it's focused on why we are here, and that's monitoring of microclimate. So it's a platform for monitoring of microclimate. We offer basically wide offer of sensors and technologies according to requirements of the city or client. We have a progressed or advanced system of data representation, and we can also, or the city or the municipality can define or specify how many users they will have, what rights they will have. So the entire management is up to them. So we just gave them the tools and they can do whatever they want with that. So in this case, as I have mentioned, we are hardware producers, but in this case we said that we will also enable the connection of sensors from external producers. Why not? If somebody is producing system or product that is good, why shouldn't we be able to process it? We also offer full API, which means you have data that you can use further. You can put them or to any system or to any tool, and you can basically display this data. You can play with those. It's available 24/7. I would also like to say that all the measured data are without limitation available in the original raw form. So as I said, whether it's the data from today or from the last week, and many systems do not enable this because they only keep the aggregated data, but we know how important it is to have them in this original form. So it depends on the client what they do with the data. We have a presentation layer, so to say, which they can select, and they can present the data as they need. So on the upper chart, we see the measured data with all the fluctuations, deviations that were, and here on the lower chart, we see the report with in 1 hour steps. So you can see that those are smoothed. Another big part of our system are so-called temperature maps, which means the client can create the temperature map by themselves. This is the high school in Brno, which was mentioned. It's part of Urbanex project. We have there some measurement tools on the roof. And here we have the reference surface. So you can create various zones there. You can click, or you can put their various positions of the measuring points. You select the time scope, and you can decide whether you want to see the minimum of the temperatures or the average, and the system shows you very nicely some temperature map. This is the example from September the 7th this year. So it was sunny day, but not very hot. The temperature was from 22 to 25 degrees. The reference surface shows approximately 22 degrees, and the roof had almost 50 degrees at that point. And you can do this from any data, and you can also see that 10 years later, and you can make a summary, or you can make an overview for one day or for a month, whatever you feel like. Another big thing are so-called shared links. So we understand that if you have the data, you want to share them. And one of the possibilities is by these shared links. So the user selects what data they want to have, whether they want to have reports or raw data, and they can share it through the QR code or through a link. This is an example of one shared link which can be which can be placed at the entrance, or we have a lot of clients who use it as on their tablet to see whether everything is all right in their operation. And last but not least, we have these notifications. As the ladies before me mentioned, it is important to be aware of the data and of the measured anomalies. And in the system, we have the possibility that the client can define or specify the limits of the alarm or warning, and for each of these values they can define the channel through which they would send the notification, whether directly in the application via email or through the notification in your cell phone, text message, your phone, whatever. For each channel you can set your own setting, whether there should be some postponing, or whether the situation was solved, and so on. So we also have there the so-called timetables, and you can set the rules only for certain time scope. Let's say in a week, during the working time, you want to notify, let's say, the dispatching of your company or the operation, and out of the working hours it will go to the porter's cell phone. So anything can be set. So as I mentioned, we are a company with a lot of experience with data collection. We have a solution which we have been developing over and over, and we have still a staff and a team of people who have been working on this, on hardware as well as software. We provide precise measuring tools, but we also offer the possibility to connect the measuring tools from external producers. And if you address any kind of monitoring, whether it's optimization of the transport or energy consumption or whatever, the main criterion is quality and professional level, because the manual data or the data from manual collection are non-precise and useless, because the systems that somehow collect the data can be very problematic, because you will not be able to retrieve the data from there and to process them, and slow and non-precise data will be at the end of the day very expensive and useless for you. So I hope you understood what's the solution for that. Thank you very much. I have a few notes, if I may. I'm afraid of monitoring, but also in this case I agree A long time ago, we had these projects like Big Brother based on Orwell's 1984. We were monitored. Yeah, but you do it with the good intention. Yes, of course. I mean, also the people who discovered nuclear weapons had good intentions. I mean, aren't you from Central Slovakia? No, not even close. And where are you from? From Bratislava. I'm from here. Because you have a very nice Slovak. It wasn't, you didn't have a strong accent. I thought you were from the Central Slovakia. Yeah, but our company is from there, and I've been there for a very long time. Yeah, I knew because you speak very nicely, and thank you very much for this interpretation. It was very nice.